Hey bro, how we doing? I just had to ramble about this new Volleyball Legends drop because it's one of those updates that actually changes how you think about building your player. Seriously, it feels like they rewired the whole equipment shelf and handed you a few extra slots to prototype chaos. So here's me talking you through everything that matters. What's new, what it means for your builds, what to try first on the court, and how to make sense of the new systems without turning your brain to mush. This update brings a fresh, top-tier rarity that clearly exists to be chased and upgraded. And right alongside it, there's a brand new Ultra style called HAKKA that introduces clone mechanics, which mess with timing, positioning, and the usual one-hit expectations in ways that are both hilarious and terrifying once people figure out the combos. The net effect is that matches will feel more dynamic. You'll start seeing plays that look like a single player is in two places at once, and that changes how you defend, how you set up double blocks, and how you arrange rotations on the fly. Talking about that new rarity for a second, the Ultra tier isn't just a shinier card to flex, it's explicitly designed to scale with investment. That means an Ultra style you pull at low level will be good, but the same style leveled up will outperform a lot of other high-end equipment because the stats grow with upgrades. Developers seem to have wanted a progression path where a dedicated player's single prized item can remain relevant week after week instead of being obsolete the next patch. Practically, this nudges the meta toward commitment. If you like an Ultra style, you'll be tempted to funnel resources into it because it rewards continued play and upgrading. The result is a subtle but real shift away from disposable pulls and toward curated collections. Now, HAKKA, the new marquee style, is the real brainbender. Its clone mechanic isn't just a cosmetic illusion, it spawns functioning copies that inherit core effects and act semi-autonomously for short windows. That means spike timings, feints, and set follow-ups can be orchestrated to hit multiple lanes almost simultaneously. If you imagine your offense, where previously one player would commit to a single set or line, HAKKA allows microplays where your clone takes the decoy role, and you either punish the freed line or bait out counters and punish the counters. From a defensive perspective, this creates a new set of priorities, recognizing which avatar is the real threat and which is the clone, and then deciding whether to chase the illusion or hold position for the real intercept. Expect initial chaos, then watch as disciplined teams learn to use clones for staggered pressure, and solo players experiment with clutch plays that suddenly look like teamwork. An immediate practical consequence is how you build your stats. HAKKA loves synergy. It rewards players who stack complementary stats so the clone isn't just ornamental. Think of pairing jump spike boosts with timing enhancing abilities so both you and your clone hit peak windows, or combining set/accuracy perks where your clone acts as a precision decoy while you target raw damage windows. Because Ultra items level up and the style itself benefits from higher tiers, you'll want to prioritize permanent stat increases that scale. Permanent mastery, XP funneling, and pickable upgrade items suddenly matter more than purely transient bonuses. In short, if you're the type who swaps styles every match, you might still have a blast. But HAKKA's potential shines when you invest and create a package that both you and the clone can optimize around. Another seemingly small but huge change is that every player now gets an extra style slot. That noise? That's actually freedom. One more slot means hybrid builds become not just viable, but intentionally creative. You can run a primary HAKKA slot, a secondary utility slot for defensive or set support, and still have room for a wildcard style that covers niche situations. This slot expansion encourages experimentation rather than limiting you to rigid archetypes. It's like being handed an extra tool on the bench and realizing you can finally fix that one awkward gap in your kit without dismantling the whole thing. For competitive players, it also opens up the idea of contingency builds, a main setup and a rapid swap counter for very specific matchups. Rates and randomness got a soft touch this round. There are reported buff drop rates and pity improvements that make chasing Ultra less infuriating. The initial chatter suggests that the pity mechanics and lucky spin giveaways were tuned so the occasional spender and the patient grinder both feel rewarded. Combine that with timed lucky spin handouts during the update rollout, and you've got a window where rolling for HAKKA or synergistic Ultra styles is more reasonable without having to throw everything at a gacha. It's worth noting these rate changes are subtle. They don't guarantee you'll snag the Ultra you want on the first try, but they reduce the sting of long dry spells and make the event period feel more generous overall. Let's talk codes because nobody likes missing free spins. There were a trio of new redeemables released with the drop, Update 45, Clone, and Ultra, and each grants lucky style or ability spins that are perfect for trying your luck on the new toys. These codes were handed out through official channels around the update rollout, so if you haven't redeemed them and you're still in the window, you should definitely punch them in. The spins are the least volatile reward in the update. They give you chances without forcing investment, and they let you test HAKKA and other Ultras before you commit valuable upgrade materials. If you're grazing social feeds, you'll see plenty of short-term videos showing what a good pull looks like, how clones behave in practice, and the kind of plays that are suddenly possible with a well-timed HAKKA combo. On the subject of how to play in matches now, timing, deception, and rotation discipline are going to be king. HAKKA can be abused for distraction plays where you force two defenders to split attention, or for staggered assaults where the clone pins a blocker and you go for the actual scoring avenue. If you're on defense, make sure you communicate, call out which avatar is the clone if you can, and watch animations carefully. The clone's window is short, but it is very purposeful. It'll bait predictably if you let it. Teams that communicate well will punish lone wolf players who try to ride HAKKA solo without coordinated follow-ups. Conversely, coordinated squads will milk the clone's confusion to create openings others can exploit. This update rewards teamwork and also rewards players who can think 2 steps ahead and manipulate opponent expectations. Balance-wise, the design choice to make Ultra scale matters because it creates long-term investment decisions. If an Ultra can be reliably leveled and remain potent, players will choose to grind for 1 or 2 signature items rather than chasing a broad set of mid-tier styles. That has social implications. Expect communities to form around icon builds and signature Ultra combos, and expect guides and spreadsheets telling you the most efficient upgrade pathways. It also means trading and economy systems, if present, may see shifts in what players value. The short version: rare items become rare not only in acquisition, but in identity. Those who invest in an Ultra will likely wear it like a badge, and that badge will represent gameplay impact, not just visual prestige. There are also polish and QOL fixes sprinkled through the patch that make the whole experience cleaner. Matchmaking improvements, some UI cleanup for the spin pity systems, and a handful of bug patches aimed at preventing awkward dupes or misfired abilities. Those kinds of small fixes rarely make headlines, but they matter in daily play and make the new mechanics less frustrating. The patch seems thoughtfully assembled, large gameplay changes balanced with small quality-of-life adjustments, so the novelty doesn't get undercut by avoidable annoyances. That's the kind of update that lands smoother and sticks longer in the meta. If you're someone who makes content or likes to show off flashy plays, HAKKA is fertile ground. The visual of clones coordinating attacks is naturally attention-grabbing, and you'll see creative uses that go beyond raw damage. Think coordinated fights, decoy sets that draw out opponents into traps, or even clutch defensive plays where a clone absorbs pressure while you rotate for the real block. For streamers and clip makers, the first week after a new style is always peak creative opportunity. People are still learning the counters and clips of successful plays explode quickly. Expect highlight reels full of reckless but genius plays, then a transition to cleaner, more refined uses as the community eternalizes the counters. From a community perspective, updates like this breed conversation and controversy in equal measure. Some players will complain that clones add randomness or that Ultra items deepen the gap between invested and casual players. Others will celebrate the new strategic layers and the fact that there's a more meaningful late-game progression. Both arguments have merit. Change always produces friction, but based on early reporting and player reaction, most of the chatter skews positive because the devs paired the big new mechanics with rate/pity improvements and freebies that soften the blow of chasing rarities. The social fabric of the game is likely to reorganize around who has which Ultras and which creators popularize smart HAKKA loops. Finally, some caution. New mechanics always have teething problems and exploitable interactions. Expect hotfixes within a short window. Dev teams usually watch emergent uses and patch the ones that break experience balance. If you see something that looks broken, report it through official channels rather than weaponizing it in competitive play. The community appreciates proactive reports, and it helps ensure the meta evolves in a healthy way. Meanwhile, if you want to maximize your early power without overspending, use the free spins, experiment with the extra slot, and treat Ultra pulls like long-term investments rather than instant wins. This patch is less about instant gratification and more about crafting a legend you upgrade and refine across the season. Alright, I could go on about specific ability synergies and niche counterplays until my voice goes hoarse, but the short practical thesis is simple. This update hands players creative tools, clones, an investable tier, and an extra slot that rewards strategic thinking, deliberate investment, and teamwork. It's the kind of change that makes games feel fresh, not because graphics change, but because the incentives and decision trees in matches actually shift. So get in, test the clone windows, try hybrid builds with that extra slot, and enjoy the weird, wonderful plays that will pop up as the community learns the meta.